Andrew Maximov. I run a company called Promethean AI where we build artificial intelligence that works with anyone and everyone, especially people in the creative industries, to build virtual worlds. The metaverse fundamentally is just a shared virtual space that we can all inhabit and participate in. Computers, all the way back to the 50s, gave us a promise that they're going to amplify our intellectual abilities, right? And they did so to an extent, but I think there was an even broader promise implied that there is no constraint.
Telephone, TV, computerized simulators, a whole new field of modernized communication.
It was a cartoon that I could participate in, and that promise of participation was grand because I think all of us fundamentally want to be engaged. We want to be the ones doing the heroic deeds or going on adventures or experiencing the stories. And then that just kept growing and growing, right? Where all of a sudden you have all of these people in massive multiplayer online games, and so having the right infrastructure for that is very important. When I think to the early days of the metaverse, I always think to the dawn of the internet, and that was at first fascinating experiences of like, oh, we can actually build meaningful connections with people that are not in our physical vicinity. We had technology that allowed us to communicate, where we could send a letter, we could send a phone call or something like that. But the moment we empower people all of a sudden to make a memory that did not exist before, that wasn't just a conversation, but it's a new thing that we did together that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives, that's when I think we start changing people, we start changing lives, we start changing people's perception of what reality is in many ways. What's really cool about the interactive space in general, right, is that it has something for everyone. You have your fantasy, you have your sci-fi, but at the same time there's train simulators and apartment simulators, and then there's just communities for people to get together and discuss whatever they want. And all of this allows us to feel present and feel like we are making these memories directly rather than perceiving them from characters on a screen. And I think that helps a great deal to make virtual worlds feel like real world experiences. I had the privilege of witnessing one of the first digital circus performances where there were actual acrobats being motion captured live and then transferred into a digital world, and that was an absolutely magical experience when you think about it, because all of a sudden the real world is not a constraint anymore. We can have the performers be elves and fairies and be in a magical forest and just soar through the air, and removing the constraints of reality and having the ability to shuttle 25 times more data is going to be that much more important, because all of a sudden we can communicate you to the other person in your full three-dimensional glory with all of the textures and materials, and driving down latency there is paramount. Honestly, what excites me the most about this space right now is the democratization of the technologies and what that means for storytellers, because there are so many stories that are yet unexperienced, untold by so many people that also don't know that they're creators, brilliant creators just yet, and being on just the precipice and sort of having these tools in our hands and like handing them out to people and saying, hey, you get to build anything you ever dreamed of, like having that freedom, like that. I can't think of anything more exciting in the world right now. So you can say, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we were in a speakeasy in Chicago, Prohibition era, and just like that, on a dime, the environment switches around you. And I think the thing that virtual worlds can actually allow us for is to live in someone's world for a minute, walk in someone's shoes, and when we can do it in a way that is seamless, that is fully realistic, and speed and the immediacy of the feedback is just paramount to that. To what we're doing now with Promethean, where instead of making hard-coded rules, we just allow an artificial intelligence to learn from artists as they're building these worlds, and then share that knowledge with everybody on the planet. And through everybody teaching an AI over time, just by making art, we have a system that will be able to deliver on that. That fundamentally allows us that much more democratization. It allows everybody who creates content to also be the creators of their own automation, of the tools that amplify them. You can empower yourself just through doing what you do every single day. There's always been separation for people that make the tools and then people that use the tools to create content. But when you can create a technology that literally learns from content, all of a sudden you're just closing the loop. Words are great, pictures are great, but nothing beats experiencing it. And I think that's where we're headed, and I can't wait for that.